and my mute button. All right, let's start this now. What up, guys? What up? What up? Between that fucking loop button for the intro and my audio, shit just didn't want to didn't want to get going. But what up, guys? What's up? What's up? I hope you guys can hear me okay now. But yeah, little impromptu stream here. Had a little bit of time before the evening, so wanted to pop on here. Ignore background. But what's up, man? What's up? What's up, guys? Like I said, just wanted to pop on here for a little bit. Probably not gonna be. I say this, but sometimes we end up going crazy long, right? But this won't be one of those. Probably about an hour or so, if that. But just wanted to, like I said, hop on here and just give everyone a quick update and talk about some AEW because um, I just have some questions. So I just want to chat about some AEW stuff with you guys. Um, so let me pull up the chat, but I think I saw, yeah, what up, Fernando? I saw you earlier in here. Good morning, or good morning. I'm so used to morning time. Good afternoon, good evening, guys. Good evening, good evening. Fernando, you are a big AEW fan, I would call it. I'm pretty certain, right? So I definitely, if you're still lingering in here off and on, I definitely want to get some of your thoughts from the pay-per-view and the Dynamite show that we had yesterday, this past evening. But what up, guys? What up, E? What up, K Smith, Jesse, Maria? What up, everyone? Everyone watching on Twitter. I think it's just one over there on Twitter. So what's up? What's up, guys? But yeah, E, you said no. I didn't coordinate it. You're funny. I did not coordinate it with Robert, but I did think of him specifically when earlier in the day I thought, you know what, I may have a chance to pop on here at some point. I did think about him. So I did want to make sure I got on a little bit earlier so I wouldn't conflict with that. But yeah, so just in regards to the scheduling going forward in the in the stream, Wrestling Media is making some changes, and that will be making some changes to the schedule and just who's running the ship over there. Nothing crazy, just some scheduling issues, real life work, getting in the way of some stuff. So totally understand that. So I am just going to do the morning show here over on my channel here, Kick Ash Podcast. Saturday mornings. We'll probably go Saturday mornings at 10:30 here. Starting this week. Sorry if you can hear my dog right here, Callie. Yeah, so we'll be starting that this week. But I just wanted to give everyone an update. You are obviously welcome to pop on here in the mornings. And when once things get kind of sorted out, we will kind of go from there. But like I said, nothing crazy, but I just didn't want to disappear completely on Saturday mornings and it just be a complete mystery or like that weird speculation or whatever. So yeah, just wanted to hop on here, like nothing crazy, like everything's good, everyone's good. Just real life work stuff getting in the way of the fun stuff, you know what I mean? And that's the most annoying part. Like when you like do like these shows and shit, real life work and like commitments and shit are so annoying and they get even more annoying, right? So yeah, so just wanted to give you guys an update there, like I said. Yeah, I was about to say I shouldn't. Yeah, because my I will be back in Massachusetts next week, but scheduling wise, I'll actually be here. I'll be flying out Sunday morning, so Saturday will be good. So, like I said, if you would like to join me here Saturday morning around 10:30, then I would love to have you here. But yeah, Robert. I do not. I do not know if Robert is still doing the Nocturnal Knockout. I'm not sure. I'm not sure if they were able to get it sorted out. Yeah, I'm not sure. But yeah, so like I said, to answer your questions, yeah, I'm sure you heard it now. But yeah, I'll be doing it here. I'll just be doing it on Kickash Podcast until, like I said, just some things get sorted out. So yeah, nothing crazy there, but just wanted to give everyone an update. Like I said, real life scheduling, like real life work, it's so annoying when you're just trying to run a channel, man. Trying to get a channel going and shit like that. It's super annoying. So I totally get it. But Fernando, I appreciate you, man. Yeah, I'm happy you're still here. Ugh. So because as I was watching Dynamite a little bit earlier in the day, like I said, I don't wanna be too hard on some things or whatever and be that person. So it made me think of you, bro. It made me think of like, "Oh, man, I'm sure Fernando's gonna shit on me or shit on something I have to say," you know what I mean? Or call me out on it, which I love. That's what I'm here for. So, I'm super excited to see what you have to say. But throw any early thoughts on and all you guys, throw any of your reactions, any of your thoughts from this past weekend from AEW Wrestle Dream and this past Dynamite. Obviously, want to chat about that. And obviously, we won't be doing a full rundown of either show just for time purposes. But man, and you guys know me. I'm not really, obviously, not much on social media, but I have seen a little bit of mixed reviews for the past pay per view. So let me know what you guys think about that. We do have a tournament set up as well for the AEW Women's World Tag Team Championships, the inaugural titles. Um, wouldn't it be not not to get into it too much right now, but 'cause obviously we will be right. But wouldn't it be crazy if Mercedes Moné, Sasha Banks, was able to win the inaugural AEW Women's Tag Team titles, and then obviously she has that with Bailey, right? Because it was her and Bailey who won the inaugural WWE Women's Tag Team titles. Wouldn't that be something crazy? That'd just be a crazy stat. But leave it to Belt Money, right? I don't want to say 12 because she's at 12 now, right? About to go for 13. I'm pretty certain. I just every time I feel confident about the number, it changes. um, but if anyone can have a stat like that and win the tag team titles while having all these X amount of singles world championships at the same time, it would be her. So, like I said, we'll definitely be getting into that. But it just, when I thought about it, I was like, yo, that'd just be crazy. And I mean, I'm gonna say my thoughts for that because you guys know me, man. I'll fucking get sidetracked and be all over the place. But yeah, she has 12 titles. Yeah, that's what I thought. I just wanted to be sure. Fernando, you're funny, bro. You're funny. Final boss. All right. Hold on one second. I'm gonna pull up the. I thought I had the Wrestle Dream. One second. There we go. All right, cool. Oh, I just completely closed out of the wrong tab. But all right, so Fernando, here we go. So the first, I don't want to say issue, but the first thing that really stood out to me, and it stood out to me because this is how I felt coming out of the last brutal John Moxley match, is he, my dude, should not be on Dynamite the following week, nonetheless wrestling. And yeah, I understand he at least, and to, because I try to be fair, right, and to give pro, or if I'm down on something, I try to just not be negative Nancy over here. I do love what AEW does right after the pay per view or right after their match at the pay per view. They seem to film the wrestlers very shortly after the match is ended when they're backstage and get their immediate thoughts. It seems like MJF. I don't know if he was the first one who had done that, but he's the other one that really stands out to me. And we've seen more and more of them come through, but MJF just really like just blows them out of the park and makes them his own. But Moxley has as well, and I do, or I did, and do like what Moxley said about Darby Allin. He pretty much owned up to his loss. You know what I mean, and kind of like what Danielson said. Like admit it or not admit it, but I guess kind of can admit when he lost to not necessarily the better man. He didn't put it, but he lost. Darby was, I don't remember if he said like the tougher or the stronger guy at that night, but I just feel like to really sell, especially in this situation, right? When Darby is Mr. AEW and literally the dude flying the AEW flag, literally. like, sell it even harder for the beating that Moxley just went through by the hands of this dude by having him just take 1 week off. And you can still, like, in place of having Moxley there, you can run that awesome videos package that they did, video segment, whatever you wanna call it, from him after the pay-per-view. You throw that in there. Maybe you do something extra, right? Maybe you can make 2 out of them or whatever, you have 1 with the one that he did, and then maybe 1 with him talking to the Death Riders, maybe them questioning him, like, he's lost a few big matches now, so it's kind of interesting to me that they aren't really questioning his leadership or really, like, doubting him or anything like that. It's just pretty much just the same story after every loss, and I just feel like they could be getting so much more, but not even showing signs of dissension or going against each other or anything like that, or have them completely turn on each other like we just saw with the Vision, right? But have, like, Claudio be like, "Yo, man, like, WTF, like, what's going on? Like, why, like, get your head in the game. Like, you used to be this legit killer. Like, you did X, Y, and Z to Bryan Danielson. Remember, you were on this reign of terror. And ever since you lost the title, you've just been, losing the big ones. Like, what's going on?" So just something like that. And again, not anything where they need to be teasing them breaking up if they don't want to. Whether I agree with that or not. But you can maybe use that as a little seed that's being planted in Moxley's head, like, "Yeah, man, like, you're right, like, what's going on, man? Like, maybe I should take time off and address and just see what's going on." And maybe not even necessarily say that, but you can kind of see and kind of, like, read a space and maybe, like, pick up on, like, okay, like, that's the vibe, like, like, or maybe have Claudio kind of reference something like that and Mox kind of non-verbally, like, agree and acknowledge that. And even if it's just a week or 2, I think it should be much longer, but even if you like, for whatever reason, because they don't have many big stars, right, with a lot of guys being injured right now, even if that's the main reason keeping Moxley on weekly TV, then I get it. But I don't think it would be detrimental for even 2 weeks to have Mox gone, just to sell the damage that he took from Darby, right? And to really sell just the anguish of defeat, you know what I mean? Like, if the dude, like, yeah, he goes through, like, he goes or he gives Darby Allin his props or whatever, and he takes a moment to think about it, takes a few days to think about it. Bryan Danielson even said the reason the match was announced, like, later on, kinda like last minute, was because Moxley just got cleared, right? Like, no, like, he should be out. Like, he should why is he rushing back to be on Dynamite? Like, I don't understand why they can't just let it breathe sometimes. And again, not saying if you can't have him gone for whatever reason and you need him on TV, to have him gone for months, Ideally, personally, I'd probably have him off TV for like 3 months. Like, I would have had him lose to Darby Allin at Wrestle Dream and then have him take the rest of the year off. Like, maybe if you needed him on TV or you want him to come back one more time, like, have him show up on this week's Dynamite and then Darby beat him down again or something. And I know it could be unbelievable, right? But if that's the story we're going with, you can do something like that. But I feel like what they did at Wrestle Dream was fine. And I know a lot of people aren't fans of it, of the match and certain things that they did in it. But um, I don't know. I really feel like they lose out on not letting stuff breathe sometimes. And I'm not even trying to be negative on it. It's just like it kind of like it frustrates me because it's like, yo, like, I don't know. And even Darby, like, I don't think Darby should have been there either. Like, it's more believable, right? And I don't want to say excusable because, like, it's not necessarily a bad thing. It's just, to each their own. But like it makes more sense for Darby to be on Dynamite this week and be brutal, like completely, like, just showing the bruises and showing the aftermath. And I think he did a great job. And I thought his segment was straight to the point and Darby, right? Like, it was perfect for who Darby is and what we know of him and what we expect from his character, right? Like, he's straight to the point on the mic. Like, he's not known to go out there and be long-winded like an MJF, right? Like, he comes out there, says his shit, and leaves, you know? Um, but I like that he showed the battle wounds, right? Like I really dug that. So I was cool with Darby being there, but I don't know, like just having Mox there and then let alone having him wrestle, just like I don't know, it just really kind of bothered me. Maybe, like I said, maybe it shouldn't have. I don't know. But that's just where I'm at with it. So let me know what you guys think of that. I need to just hit some of these windows down really quick. But I don't know, man. And again, to come back, and no disrespect, because I was a big fan of Undisputed Era and shit like that. But to come back and to have to face off against Kyle O'Reilly, like that couldn't wait a week. Like that couldn't wait 2 weeks. Like I don't know, man. And again, no disrespect, and it was a fun match. It was nothing against it. I just feel like just let it breathe a little bit. And I don't know, because I just truly feel that they would have gotten so much more, and you just get so much more in general selling the loss, number one, and number two, selling a brutal match that you just went through. You went through an I quit match, dude. And again, like I don't know, like I don't think any of us, and let me know if you guys would, but I definitely wouldn't think any less of Moxley if he took a week off after the match that he just went through, right? So yeah, that's just kind of where I'm at with it. Yeah, Maria, you make a very great point as well, bro. What up? What up? You said this I quit match should be the end of this feud. There should not be another match. And yeah, and by the sounds of of what Darby said, wherever the Death Riders go, as long as they're breathing, he won't be far behind. And I'm just like, why, bro? You won. Like, you won. Like, just leave well enough alone. Like, I know Darby's like a glutton for punishment, right? And he goes out there and literally asks for trouble, gets himself into these crazy situations, right? But you won. Like, I don't, where would we go from here? I guess like what, like a steel cage match since they quote unquote would just be themselves locked in there. But we've seen people interfere before that not really mean anything. So I don't know. But the more I think about it, the more frustrating it does make me too. So I'm gonna hope that they at least end it for now. Even if they come back and revisit it in a few months, fine. But we don't need this run back at full gear. So let's hope. Yeah, okay, Fernando. All right, dude. I'm actually surprised to see you say this. He said the Death Rider should kick out Moxley for not living up to the standards of the faction, and Marina should be the silent leader. I feel that, dude. Kind of like a Judgment Day with a Rhea Ripley esque type vibe, but make it obviously not obviously comparisons in some realm, but Death Riders are much more brutal, different environment, right? But yeah, dude, you can, and I would obviously make it more obvious, like kind of have like at least with like the positioning and visually, but I would keep Marina, like you said, like a silent leader, because I think, and I don't mean this in any bad way, but the less she speaks, the better, in the sense that it's more mysterious, right? Like if she goes out there and talks every week, it's like okay, like she kind of loses her mystique. But right now, she kind of reminds you of like the early years of China, right? As the enforcer and the bodyguard for Triple H. Um, but yeah, I don't know. Maybe it's not that great of a comparison, but it's kind of what I just thought of. What up, Joshua? You said it seems like they're going long term with Moxley being shook after the loss. I mean, he shouldn't be struggling with Kyle O'Reilly. Yeah, dude. Yeah, and maybe that's the story. Maybe they're gonna have him go through these random, or maybe not even random, but these level of competitors and struggle with them and go 15, 20 minutes is much as we may not want to see that. But maybe that's going to be the story that Moxley is struggling with just, I don't want to say mid carders either because that has such a negative connotation, but just like, like your TNT level guys, right? Your TNT level championship guys, rather, I should say. And your tag team champion guys and your trios, like those guys. The guys who aren't in the main event scene, like that level. And if he's struggling with those, like, maybe that's gonna be the story where he can't seem to like, he's just barely getting by type shit, and he has to, like, punch the ref or, like, do something crazy to pull out the victory. So, maybe that's gonna be the story, and maybe they do end up having Claudio, for instance, or maybe Marina herself confront Moxley and be like, "Yo, like, fuck is wrong with you, dude? Like, snap out of it or be gone," type shit, or if not, then we'll do it for you, And Moxley will respect that, and not have and again, like, if they don't wanna break them up, have Moxley kinda, like, do, like, a head nod or, like, some type of acknowledgement, and then he's gone for a little while. So, yeah, I don't know. Exactly, Josh. Well, and again, you said Moxley is due for a long vacation as a person and a character. 100%, dude. 100%. Like, the character is one thing, but I feel for the person more than anything, and of course, if I'm sure if he needed time off and he said something on TonyCon, it wouldn't be a problem, but we obviously know Moxley is crazy, like, this is his life, like, he loves doing shit like this and putting his body through, just all the crazy shit that it's been through, but personally, I kind of feel bad for him, like like, dude, like you deserve time off, like, and that's what I'm coming from too with it, like he 100%, 1,000% deserves time off, right? Like him, Renee, their daughter, right? Like go traveling. I think they would live in what, like Vegas, like go traveling, like fucking do whatever, like do nothing. Like I'm sure probably you don't, maybe you don't want to travel, right? Like I'm sure these guys and gals who are on the road, even just a couple days a week, um sometimes you don't wanna leave your house. Sometimes that staycation is the best cation. So, just do whatever, dude. Do whatever, do nothing, do all the above. But take that time, dude. Take that time. Yeah, what up, D-Rock? Yeah, yep. That's where he's been on a run ever since. You said, "I don't remember exactly, but I think Moxley was supposed to take extended time off, and then the Punk thing happened, and he was back immediately. Either he doesn't want or know how to take time off." Yeah. And that's what literally I'm just saying, dude. Yeah, like I'm sure if he was really pressed to take that vacation and to get that time off, he would have made it more pressing and made it a point to be like, yo, like I need to take time off. Um, but they've said too, like the more you go and the longer, like the more consistent you go, the easier it is on your body, right? But if you go take some time off and like go like intermittently, it's rougher on your body. So maybe he's just building, 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 and stacking that PTO time. And he's gonna maybe like I said, maybe it'll be after full gear. I don't know. We'll see. But my guy deserves that PTO. Interesting. EU said Brodito is cool, but I think Mark Briscoe and Bandito would be a great tag team. Interesting idea. Interesting idea. All right, but moving on. Those are my thoughts on that. Moving on, though, we have I'll get into I was debating on going to the tag tournament, but we'll wait. We'll kind of tie it in. Mercedes Moné, guys. She is now our Ring of Honor interim women's TV champion. Um, I don't I don't really know why we need a Ring of Honor television championship when there's no television deal and there's no weekly television. I know they have, like, the Ring of Honor subscription, right? So maybe that's that's, like, what they're referring to. And I'm not trying to be that person, but, like, I don't know, man. That one just seemed to be a little just that title in general, like and I think just, like, the interim anything just kinda bothers me, but I don't know, like, I'm just not a fan of that. But why not, right? Hold on 1 second. What did y'all think of that main event though? Okada and Bandito? It was pretty solid. I mean, I don't think there was any question about who was gonna win, right? But it was a pretty solid match. And I was shocked that Okada was wrestling on Dynamite in a singles match. So hell yeah, you better make him the main event, right? The fuck? I could have sworn I had that shit open. Okay. But yes. No, I agree, Maria. I'm glad you brought that up. You said I enjoy the Belt Boys. It's a clever idea. It really is. I love it because for me too, it's kind of like I don't want to say like a callback, but it kind of reminds me of like well, I guess UFC still does it with like the ring girls with like the numbers and shit. Um, but that was always the thing, right? Women were always the displays, like cheerleaders and shit like that. They are always the displays, always the eye candy, stuff like that. So I just love that she has the belt, like belt boys. It's just fucking fantastic. So if she, if we get nothing else, or if I enjoy nothing else out of it, I love the belt boys. So I am right there with you, Maria. I am right there with you. Alright, cool. But sticking with the women here, let me share my screen in a sec. Here is the AEW Women's World Tag Team Championship Tournament brackets. Let me change my banner really quick. All right. So, see if we can zoom in any. Nah. But you guys can see that, right? Move some tabs. But, and that's what I was saying, like, yo, like, what if, make it a little brighter. If Mercedes wins the tag team championships, bro. Well, but I guess we'll say on side A, we have, or left side, if you're looking at it, we have Queen Aminata and Jamie Hayter facing off against the Sisters of Sin in one series of brackets. And then we have Willow Nightingale teaming up with Harley Cameron facing off against Mercedes Moné and Athena. I wonder who's winning. Like, okay, so I'll just go through it and then we'll get back to who I think is going to win each one, right? Then we have on the right side or side B, we have Alex Winza teaming up with Riho, facing off against Tony Storm and Mina Shirakawa, which that match I'm sure is going to be something else. Just with that tag team alone. Then on the bottom portion, we have Megan Bain and Penelope Ford facing off against TJ, which always gets me because her name is Ty Mello, but it's TJ. So it's like a mind fuck. But the tournament will be starting next week. And part of me is like, is it a no-brainer, right? It's almost like a given who is going to win the tournament. But in the other token, in the other hand, right? I'm like, maybe it's one of those things where it's almost so obvious it's not going to happen. So with we'll just start with the big one, right? With Mercedes Moné and Athena teaming up, facing up off against Willow Nightingale and Harley Cameron. You guys know I love Willow, right? But I wonder if it's gonna be. I almost feel like it's all or nothing, right? For Mercedes with this tournament, I feel like she's gonna go all the way. Her and Athena are gonna go all the way to the end and win the tag team championships, and become the inaugural champions, or they're gonna lose in the first round here. And if I had to make if I had to make a prediction right now, I would say, mm, I would say maybe I would say fuck it, like have Mercedes and Athena lose. And I know it sounds crazy, but you can do something where Athena is secretly plotting to sabotage Mercedes, right? And to make sure she does not go on to add another title to her collection and get payback, right? For their history there. So I think there's a lot that you can play off of with that. And Willow is, I just feel like there's something, I've said this before, but I just feel like there's something there with Willow. I don't necessarily see them going all the way. But man, it would be so fun to have them pick up a surprise victory, have Athena do something like strike Mercedes or whatever, and then have Willow pick up the surprise victory, right? Like hit a finisher and then get the 1, 2, 3. Everyone is happy, right? Everyone loses their mind. So, and that'd be a great callback for a potential title match if you want to go that route, right? Like Willow can always then say, "Oh, like she pinned Mercedes, right?" And she can use that and have that under her belt. So I would again, if you're not gonna have Mercedes win the titles and like I the whole go the whole way, then why have them leave the first round? I think the story would be in having them lose the first round, and whether that's going to be the beginning of the downfall for her or it's just just a small frustration, a little mini feud with Athena, and then she goes on and picks up whatever and does whatever, right? So we'll see. And I wonder, like, I wonder what the end game is going to be. Like, I wonder what the final count is going to be. So, and obviously, we know she's going to be facing off against Chris Statlander. So that's why another reason why I feel like this could be the beginning of the end, where either Athena, I don't know. I feel like you don't want to have that say the first loss, but you don't want to have Mercedes lose in a tag match just I don't say cleanly without just cleanly period, right? So that's why I feel like have Athena do something to kind of set that up and buy a little bit of time until full gear. But full gear would be a whole other discussion at that point. Her and Chris Statlander. So it's well, I guess we can talk about that in a second because Statlander did make an appearance on Dynamite as well. But yeah, so I'm gonna call it here now. Willow and Harley pick up the W against Monet and Athena. And Sisters of Sin facing off against Queen Aminata and Jamie Hayter. Hate to say it, but I feel like that one's a no-brainer. It'd be shitty, right? If you pick your opponent, you call your shot right, and you lose to them. Fucking terrible. So sorry, Sisters of Sin, but I think the queen is getting the dub here. Queen Aminata and Jamie Hayter. And that'd be a fun match. Will Nightingale, Harley facing off against Queen Aminata and Jamie Hayter. I think that'd be pretty cool. Pretty fun. On the other side, again, we have Windsor, Alex Windsor, and Rio facing off against Tony Storm and Mina. To me, I'd be surprised if Rio and Windsor pick up the W here, but I feel like that's another no-brainer. Tony Storm and Mina are gonna get the victory there. And then we have TJ facing off against Megan Bayne and Penelope Ford. This one, surprisingly, I feel like could be a little bit more of a toss-up, but I feel like with the track record, Megan Bayne and Penelope Ford are gonna get the victory here, even though it's been a little rocky lately. But it, like, how can you not, right? Like, how could you not? So yeah. And I guess we'll just go all the way, right? With that side, it would end up being Tony Storm and, facing off against Penelope Ford or Penelope, yeah, Penelope Ford and Megan Bayne. Again, to me, it'd be a no-brainer. Tony Storm and Mina pick up the victory there and move on to the finals. But then it would be on the other side, we would have Queen Aminata and Jamie Hayter facing off against Willow and Harley. Again, I'd have Willow and Harley pick up the victory here, unless you want to crown Jamie Hayter, which I could see them wanting to do. That'd be a That'd be a nice something for Jamie Hayter, right? With all the shit that she's gone through. I don't know. And I feel like they like Harley Cameron too. Like they had that damn puppet in the ring with Mercedes for her celebration for a reason, right? So yeah, man. I feel like Willow and Harley will pick up the victory there. So then we have tag team finals of Willow Nightingale and Harley Cameron facing off against Tony Storm and Mina Shirakawa. That'd be a very good match. I feel like that'd be a fun match. Do I think they would go all the way with Willow and Harley? No. I think they would put the titles on Tony and Mina just because of how entertaining it's going to be, right? And how far they can push it, how far Tony and Mina can push that boundary, right? Multiple boundaries. It's a way to get Tony Storm on TV each week and still have that segment there, and a way to keep her out of the women's title picture period, whether that's the TBS title or the women's championship, just keeping them away, keeping her away from those titles period. So I feel like it kind of solves all issues, not even issues, but it just kind of like kills all birds with one stone, right? Which was always a terrible saying. But it would be fun to have them actually be a little bit daring and go with Willow and Harley. I don't see it, man. I don't see that happening. Not never, but just not for the inaugural title. So we'll see. Maybe I'm completely wrong. Maybe I am batshit crazy, and this is gonna be Mercedes and Mirthina. Maybe that could be their fucking name. I just made it up for them. Mirthina. There you go. You're welcome. But they could go all the way with Mercedes and Athena, but I just don't see it happening. I'm gonna pull up your comments here and see what you guys have to think of and say about it. What up, Brian? Yeah, you're right, dude. You said if they remake the Red Dead 1 or do a Red Dead Redemption 3, there better be a Bandito cameo. Fucking spot on, dude. Oh, thanks, Fernando. Oh, okay, Maria. You said you'd like to see Queen Aminata and Jamie Hayter win the tag team championships. Yeah, dude, and I could see that. I could see them wanting to really do something for Jamie. Like I said, with everything that she's kind of been through, right? The past however many, like 2, 3 years now at this point. And Queen Aminata she gets a good reaction and she's solid in the ring. So I think she's just one of those wrestlers and one of those characters that just needs more time in the ring and more time in front of the fans, and like live TV matches. So yeah, I wouldn't be mad at that at all. I didn't even read the whole thing, Josh, and I already agreed with you, dude. You said it's hard to argue for more titles in AEW, but I like the women's tag titles to get more women on the shows in general and some ring time. 100% with you, dude. 100% with you. And I hope they're not just regulated to Collision. I hope it gets some fluctuation through Collision and Dynamite. Like I'm not expecting, like them to get a permanent segment each week on Dynamite, but some rotation. You know what I mean? So yeah, I agree with you 100%, dude. I feel like add the women's tag team titles, drop the men's trios tag team titles. That's where I'm at. Hey, Brian, you said I completely agree so far with these outcomes. All right, dude. Did you agree with my winner? Did you agree with the whole bracket? Let me know. Yeah. So, okay, yeah. If we're all online, then yeah, it's probably not gonna happen. We're all. It's probably just one of those things. But yeah, Josh, again, you said I agree. that this gives Tony a reason to be on TV, and you definitely want her on TV. 1,000%, man. 1,000%. And you already know the shit that she's gonna be saying with or saying to Mina and implying with Mina all the innuendos and all that shit that y'all already know. Y'all already know the shit that she is gonna be saying and doing, and yeah. And it's gonna be fun. It's I really and the more I sit here and think about it, the more I want us to be right here and for them to put the titles on Tony Storm. And that's I don't know if that's a popular opinion either because I could definitely see people getting to a point where they're tired of Tony Storm and feel like she is kind of hogging the championship scene, whether it's the main title or now our secondary title. So I could see people start to make an argument for that. I personally am not there. Um, but yeah, I could see that though. Yeah, gonna close this out real quick. But again, guys, I appreciate you all for popping on here. It was a random show. Like I said, we will be back here on a Kick-Ass podcast Sunday, Jesus Lord, Saturday morning. Sundays, I was thinking about Sunday because I have so much shit to do on Sunday. Saturday morning at 10:30 a.m. ish Eastern time. Sunday, I will be at 10. I will be just landing in Massachusetts. I have an early Sunday morning flight. I have to be at the airport. Well, my flight is at 7 a.m. I am a crazy airport person, so I'm probably gonna get there at like 4:15, 4:30. Living in Orlando, Fernando, I'm sure you know, MCO airport is fucking crazy and completely unpredictable. There are times like I think it was this past time I just went to Massachusetts. I literally walked through TSA to the point where a dude was waiting on me to get my ID out. Normally, like, I had my wallet in my pocket, but normally, you expect to wait a couple minutes in the queue. So I get my ID out, I put my earbuds away, get all my shit ready. And I was just walking right through. They even removed one of the queues and let me just like walk straight through. Not just me, but a few people behind me. I mean few. And yeah, dude was just kind of standing here. He's like, all right. And I'm just like, dude, I'm so sorry. Like, y'all are so fast today. So breezed right through. And then there was times, random Wednesday morning. I think it was when I think it was for WrestleMania a couple years ago. I was going to Philly. Random Wednesday afternoon, or I'm sorry, Wednesday morning during the weekday. Or yeah, just a regular, nothing like no spring break, no nothing crazy fucking line all the way, like the queue was packed, line all the way down this long ass hallway. I was like, I didn't end up missing my flight, but it's like a low key fear of mine. I and I don't mind being in the airport. It gives me a chance to kind of get settled. I like to look around, maybe grab a coffee. Definitely grab a coffee. Charge some of my devices. Make sure my downloads are there. I don't know. I love chilling. Not for hours and hours on a delay type shit, but I don't know. I'm just weird. Yeah, 508. Yeah. Oh man. Thanks, Maria. I appreciate it. It's for work. Actually, so I will be flying up there Sunday, like I said, well, I'll be obviously for work, but I'll be there all week until Friday, and then I'll be leaving Friday afternoon to come back home. Um, and yeah, it's sadly gonna be, I think, my last time or our last time going up there to help out the Mass area. Yeah, it's been fun. Yeah, Fernando. You said no, dude. I mean, it sucks with the unpredictability, right? And I wish we had an app feature where it would tell us, and maybe there isn't. I'm just not aware of it. So if it is, please let me know. But they need to have a feature where it shows you the updated TSA time, right? It gives you an idea, and of course, like it doesn't, things, subject to change, right? But at least a rough idea of okay, like Sunday morning at 4 a.m. Like you don't necessarily have to, like if you check at like 2, like okay, we don't have a lot of people right now, or it's not that crowded. Like it can give you like a traffic volume, like 'Cause you know they're tracking that shit. You know that they have, like, a people counter. They fucking have that at my part-time job. Like, the store has they keep track of, like, they have a counter of how many people walk in and out of that store. So, you know the airport has that shit. So, it would just be very nice and thoughtful because and it would save people clogging up the airports. There's my soapbox moment. But, yeah, moving on. Yeah, Brian, you said Logan Airport can be the easiest experience or the worst experience. Yeah, that's what I've heard as well. So, Friday, that's where I'll be flying into the Logan Airport. Yeah, so Friday when I leave, that's what I'm more concerned about. That's why I chose like an early morning flight on Sunday. So that way I have like all day if I'm delayed for whatever reason. I'll be freaking 2 hours away from where I'll actually be working at, though. So, I'll be flying into the Boston area, but working, like, an hour and 45 minutes away, and I'm sure where traffic will be even worse. So Friday, getting to the airport is gonna be kinda stressful for me, so keep me in your thoughts, guys, Friday afternoon around my flight is at, like, 3:30. I'll have to return the rental car. I have to just kind of already low-key stressing it. But the AEW World Championship picture is what I kind of wanted to wrap up on and talk about because I kind of like what I was saying about Joe, or I'm sorry about Joe. Floridian slip there, right? Kind of what I was saying about Moxley is what I was thinking about Joe in a sense, but not nearly as much because Joe and Hangman had a solid match, but didn't go through a brutal match like, the I Quit match. But I just don't know why they need to, like, wrestle right away. That's just what's kind of, like, perplexing to me. I don't know, man. Like, and Joe, I it was this kinda made more sense to me, and I wasn't as, like, against, but it just kinda stood out to me too. And when they had him come out and have the trios match and not speak at first, I was like, "You gotta be kidding me." Like, Samoa Joe just had his heel turn, right? And just turned on Hangman, and you aren't going to have him speak and explain why. So I'm definitely glad that they gave him an opportunity after the match to speak, and to kind of address it. You know, it's he's I don't know, man. It wasn't like the greatest explanation for me, but it is what it is. Like it's fine. Um, Yeah, I don't know. To be honest with you though, and my predictions were completely ass. Like I was so wrong about like damn near every prediction that I had. As I was going through their show, I was like, okay, yeah, I was wrong on this one. I was wrong on this one. Like Jurassic Express and Young Bucks, yeah, completely off on that. But yeah, like I don't know, man. Joe, I guess if you are going to cast Joe, he is a better bad guy, right? So 100% with you there. But I kinda wish this would have happened before the title match then, and maybe you I don't know, maybe you don't do it before because you don't want him to lose right off the bat, and this is like the heel turn is now setting up like the rematch. But are you gonna have him beat Hangman, or is he gonna lose again? So that's just I don't know. And to be fair, like, especially if Joe is going to be ending his in-ring career after this AEW contract, whenever that is, I can see Tony wanting to put the title on Joe, and it just eerily reminds me of MJF. What was it, the year before last? With Samoa Joe as a champion. So I don't know. I just have that feeling. Not necessarily advocating for it, but I can see Tony Khan wanting to spice things up. Maybe it's just wishful thinking. Um, And not even again necessarily saying I'm against Hangman being champion right now because I had been advocating for it for months. But I just have that feeling, man. I can see Tony Khan wanting to put the title on Joe one more time, and this kind of being the excuse and kind of the way to do it. So obviously, when I'll save official predictions for when things are made official. you know, official. But yeah, guys heard it here first. And why not? Because I feel and Joe in a suit is just great. And he just looks fantastic. But I feel like if you have a badass heel Samoa Joe as your world heavyweight champion with fucking Hobbs behind him, I mean, shit. I would just make it a duo, right? No offense, but I would just make it a duo, to Shibata and have Will Hobbs and Samoa Joe as like a powerhouse, pun intended, powerhouse duo, and just have Hobbs as the enforcer for Joe, man. Go on like a badass like 6 month reign type shit. I don't think it's gonna happen, but it'd be fun. It'd be fun. But yeah, so those are my thoughts on AEW so far and where we're at with after Wrestle Dream. Open this a little bit. But I don't want to be too negative. There's a lot I there's a lot of feelings that, like I kept to myself, right? Because when you say stuff, when you vocalize it, and like sometimes when you listen to it back, it sounds so much worse than what you actually feel. But all in all, like we all here just want AEW to be successful, right? And one last thing, like just the discussion about Warner Brothers being up for sale and stuff like that. I don't know, man. I am not one of those who is going to sit here and advocate for a company to go out of business or laugh about that. Like like laugh about potentially their future, like on TV, like like on with a time slot and things like that. And they have a contract, right? So I know they have like save clauses and shit like that. Like they've already like those people are way smarter than me. And they think of stuff like that in advance. But that renewal, right? Granted, there are so many streaming platforms now, so you have different avenues and different ways to accommodate for that. But I don't know, dude. I don't know. I love AEW. Do they frustrate me because I feel like they don't let stuff breathe? Like I was saying earlier, they. I am a big story person. I am such a story person. I would have loved for Dynamite to have opened with Hangman talking about how in the ring, talking about how pissed off he was that Joe turned on him, and they went through this great match and all this stuff, and then Joe did what he did. Just something like that, or start out with Joe. You could have literally done like almost the same thing, but just reversed it. Have Joe and the ops come out there, Joe address what he did, and then have oh my god, I'm blanking. Person that can come out there and interrupt him, right? Interrupt them and set up the match and just go from there. So I don't know, man. Just kind of where I'm at. But and yeah, Brian, you said I pay every month for Max just for AEW, but I'm gonna criticize the hell out of it. Hell yeah, dude. And I feel like when you're a fan of something, that's when you're the most passionate about it, right? Like you should at least be completely open to it. Walking Dead is always my example, dude. Like Walking Dead was one of the most loved TV shows when it was out in like the first, I would say 5, 6 years, right? First 5, 6 seasons at least. When shit, but not every episode was perfect. Not every season up until then was perfect. And when there were bad episodes, like people, especially on Twitter, dude, they would talk their shit. They would go out there and criticize it. It doesn't mean that they wanted The Walking Dead to die, you know? As weird as that sounds, like it's not like they wanted them to get canceled or anything like that. They were just frustrated with certain directions the stories were going in, or the lack of follow up, or whatever, or something didn't make sense. It's just what fans do, right? It's what sports commentators do. It's why ESPN has all those talk shows, right? Like First Take and all those morning shows, right? That's literally what they go on there on the morning shows and do is kind of talk shit, especially Stephen A, right? Like, but they go out there and give constructive criticism, depending on what show you're watching. right? Whether it or go out there and give praise, whatever. They just call it like they see it. You know what I mean? But they're passionate about what they are watching and what they're talking about. So that's kind of where I'm at. And that's kind of what I hope to like stay. You know what I mean? And that's why like sometimes like I try to be mindful of what I say just because like it can come off the wrong way and it can kind of like, like I've never done that shit. I don't know what it means to go out there and time a show or to produce a show or to write a show or to be the one delivering the lines and shit like that. So I'm sure it'd be a fucking crazy experience, right? And a crazy feeling and a crazy responsibility. So but at the same token, I am invested in it. I do pay money into it, right? So I feel like if you're gonna put on a show, you expect me to watch, right? And you expect me to have thoughts and have feelings on it. So that's what we're doing. We're sitting here talking about it. So yeah, Brian, I'm right there with you. And that's literally why I have HBO. And I was gonna cancel it the other day because I got an email saying that shit's going up to like 18.49 from 16.99, and I'm just like, "Are you fucking kidding me, dude?" I know it's like not even a full $2, right? But it's just the principle, man. It's the principle. It's like fuck off, man. And then I realized I have it for AEW. I'm like, fuck, whatever. It's annoying. Um, yeah, Fernando, you're saying I hope no flex, no flex, no, no. You remember that song, No Flex Zone? I hope Netflix doesn't buy AEW. WWE will try to kill it for sure. Yeah, dude, that's why I like the separation. That's what I am fearful of. Because WWE don't play no games, bro. Yeah, facts, Josh. Well, you said AEW reminds me of my younger brother. Love it, root for it, but it does dumb shit, and I gotta shake my head. 100%, bro. 100%. Hey, Maria. All right, we'll wrap it up on this. You said off topic. What are your thoughts on both companies playing with the careers of wrestlers like Andrade, Samantha Irving, and Britt Baker not being able to work? Yeah, I didn't even know. I don't. To be honest with you, that whole Samantha Irvin one was news to me. She had mentioned a tweet like a fan had said like mentioned something like it was crazy or it's crazy it's been a year, like sent out a tweet, right? Saying something to the effect of it's crazy that it's been a year since Samantha's been gone from WWE or something to that effect. And she quote tweeted them and she was like, yeah, she was like, yeah, 1 year down, 1 year to go. And that of course, got everyone talking and apparently she's in a non compete thing as well. So and then you mentioned Andrade and Britt Baker. Britt Baker, I guess, did we ever get an official word on if she like officially asked for her release, or do we like officially know what's going on between Britt Baker and AEW? Um, I don't think I've heard anything official. I The last thing we heard was like there was some stuff going on behind the scenes, right? And she was suspended at one point, but then she came back after that. But she hasn't been on TV since, and they've definitely been in Pittsburgh since then, and she has not been on the show. So, I mean, that's an there's any indicator, that's an indicator for you, right? Um, so yeah, and then Andrade, we all have heard about Andrade now. I'm kind of, and this is probably not like the best answer, right? But I'm kind of 50-50 on it, dude. Like, I'm kind of, I can kind of see both sides, but where I do lean more with the wrestler in one sense is so we'll just use Andrade, right? So if it is true that WWE had like the clause or a portion of it was if he was fired for clause that he has to sit out for 1 year without pay. The without pay part is fucking crazy. Like, how can you restrict someone from working where they live and not pay them for a whole year? Like that's insane to me. Insane to me. And I don't know like I don't know how deep it gets. Like I don't know does that necessarily null his contract with AEW? Like are you not even allowed to sign a contract anywhere else until that time frame is up since technically you're still under contract with WWE? Like I don't know how deep and how specific it gets. But I do think it's fucking petty. I do think it's petty to have in your contract, but on the other hand, I get it too because as we saw when he thought he was free, he went and got on AEW TV as soon as he could. And you don't want that perception out there if you're any company that okay, like we agreed to a 3-year deal, right? And let's say a year into it, not even a year into it, you're not happy with whatever, or it's just not working out for you, or whatever it is, and you just want to be out. And either you do something deliberately or just bad luck and just shit has happened and they fire you because of clause, right? Because of whatever whatever happened, right? But they fire you with that asterisk, you know? You can't just then expect to be like, okay, cool. Like I got my way and now I'm gonna, I got my way, I'm fired on Monday, I'm gonna go sign with the AEW or I'm gonna go sign with WWE or I'm gonna go sign with TNA on Tuesday. And then expect to air like be aired live on Wednesday or Thursday, whatever the show is, you know? So I kind of get the company wanting to protect themselves, but it a year is fucking dramatic. 2 years, if that's the case for Samantha Irvin, is insane. Now, unless it's a situation where she signed the 3-year deal or whatever it was, and she had 2 years left, and she was like, "Look, I don't want to come to work anymore for whatever reason," and they're like, "Okay, well, we're just not gonna bring you here, so just stay home." And I guess I don't know. Is that the same thing that happened with? I don't think it's the same thing. It's not. Not even. I don't think it's not the same thing that happened with Andrade, right? But so was Samantha not fired then? I just she asked for her release, right? If I'm not mistaken. Um, but yeah, I don't. And again, like you sign a contract, and a contract is what it is. It's a contract. You know what I mean? So I get maybe having buyer's remorse, or whatever on either side, but you gotta stick with it, man. And if you sign something, you can't then be pissed off that the person on the other end is holding you to it, you know? But that person on the other end better not put some fuck shit in there. Like a year is insane. Like I said, if that shit with Andrade is true, and not only can he not work for a year, but he's not getting paid for a year, that's absurd. That's absurd. Like, I don't know if you're WWE, why would you want to pay someone for a year? So I get that. Why would you want to pay someone for a year when you can't use them? I totally get that. So why do this? Like, I don't know. I don't know. Like, I don't even necessarily disagree with like the the 30 and 90-day thing, right? Like, okay, like if you either want to quit or we're firing you, you have 90 days and we'll pay you for the 90 days, but you can't go wherever, like I'm not even necessarily against that because of like I just said, right? Like a contract is a contract at the end of the day. You know what I mean? But if it's a mutual parting and both sides are in agreement on it, just depending on your stature and where you're at and I don't know. So I'm not necessarily against that portion of it, but yeah, the whole holding people hostage, not using them just because, but not paying them, wild. And I don't think that should be illegal. How is that legal? Like how can you force me to stay home and not be able to provide for myself? How would you pay your bills? You know what I mean? I'm sure obviously like Andrade's made I don't know millions, but a good amount of money, right? Um So but still, like, we don't, like, you can't assume. And, dude, it's insanely expensive to live nowadays. So that money would go very quickly. Um, so yeah, I don't think that's right. Fernando, you said, did you hear about the huge gambling scandal in the NBA? Like, I haven't even had a chance to really read it or like read too much into it, but I'm gonna check into that next. Um, but yeah, guys, we will be wrapping up there. I very much appreciate you all for jumping on this random live show with me. I appreciate it very, very much. So, if you haven't already, like and subscribe, I'm sure all you guys have. We will be back here, like I said, Saturday morning around 10:30 a.m. Eastern time. So I would love to see you guys back there. Back there then, back here then, wherever. But yeah, I appreciate you all as always. It is Thursday. Well, TNA is on tonight, but we are heading into the weekend. Everyone have a safe and fun weekend. Like I said, I would love to do a show prior. If not, you'll definitely see me Saturday, and then after Saturday, if nothing during that next week, maybe definitely that following Saturday morning. So if nothing in between those Saturdays, I appreciate you guys very, very much. Like I said, everyone have an awesome weekend. Stay safe out there and enjoy some wrestling. Take care.